the sketchy one here, and no, you're not mistaken. The title of this video is correct. I am actually 18 months way too late with it. Unfortunately, the end of 2017 and the whole of 2018 were just an absolute nightmare. Just personally, health issues, mental health issues, hardships, etc. And it was just difficult for me to get in front of the camera. And when I did and recorded my worst of 2017 games list, I had that saved and I started recording for a whole hour. I talked about games. I got about halfway through the list, only to discover when I took a break that my camcorder was busted and for some reason just wasn't saving anything and recording anything. So it was just frozen like on the same screen. So yeah, I lost that whole thing, and thankfully I've got my camcorder fixed now, but it has taken 3 months to kind of get back and to do this list. So as I said, did me worst of 2017. Here are my best ones, and let's be honest, 2017 was just a historic year for gaming. Just the titles were released were hit after hit after hit, and you know, for the most part the ones on this list are ones that were released that year. There's only a couple, I think, I could be wrong. To be honest, I think actually looking at the list, I think they're all pretty much from that year. No, I think one is not. But anyway, for the most part, I did play a couple of slightly older games. Ones that had just been on my list to get round to and I'd never gotten round to, and finally played them that year. But enough rambling. Here are my top 10 favourite games that I played in 2017. And starting out at number 10, we've got Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle on the Nintendo Switch. And if ever you wanted to know a title that should not, under any circumstances, should not have worked, it's this one. And yet it does. It's so bizarre. I never had an issue with the Rabbids. Like a lot of other people did. I got what their whole deal was. Unfortunately then the minions came along in Despicable Me and stuff, and kind of made everybody think that the Rabbids were a clone of them and stuff like that. And actually I think it was, like I say, I think I could be wrong. I think Despicable Me came after the Rabbids were first invented. But yeah, I always had a good laugh with a couple of the early Rabbids games. They were just fun mini-game titles kind of thing, and I just loved their potty humour, and it was just, it was something that you just didn't take seriously. But if you had ever told me back in the day that one day Ubisoft and Nintendo would just go, you know what, let's try something different and just do an XCOM turn-based strategy game, I would have just been like, what are you smoking? I'm not a big RTS fan, purely because of a lot of the HUDs and other details are quite small, so playing some of these isometric kind of top-down strategy games just doesn't work for me, unfortunately, on a visual sense. But you know what? This game really wanted me to go try and see if there's some way of playing like the XCOM games, because you know, it's visually really good. I can't play it on the handheld of the Switch, but on my big TV, just the colours make everything pop. It's really easy to see everything. The characters are hilarious. I love the crossovers between, you know, like Rabbid Kong and Rabbid Peach is easily the best character ever, so on point, and especially as somebody who's never really been a fan of Peach, seriously, Rabbid Peach is the best. As a fan of the YouTuber Rabbid Luigi, it was funny watching his reactions when this game was announced, and the fact that there was a character Rabbid Luigi in the game. So that was funny. But the controls are tight. the humour in it, like I say, is definitely worth your time, just watching and stuff. I enjoyed it. It was a really good, you know, like easy level. I say easy level, but some of the battles get really strategically tough. Luigi is an amazing sniper, which makes me happy, and I'm not a big fan of Mario, but some of his moves and stuff are really good. But I have my like core of like I think my main lineup is Mario, Luigi, Rabbid Peach, because like I say, she gives me a good giggle, and also she's a really good healer, so she's really good to have on your team for that. But no, I mean, I haven't completed the game yet. Just other stuff has gotten in the way. Other games have come out and taken my time up. But for the 10 hours that I enjoyed doing battles and stuff, I'm really looking forward to going back to this one, and I really highly recommend it. Like I say, it shouldn't work, but it does. So yeah, give that one a good go. Like I say, this would have been, I actually think this would have been higher had I actually finished the game, especially from stuff I've seen. And that's the only reason why I put it at number 10. But to be honest, this is a really tough list, and ordering them was difficult. But this one definitely deserved to be on the list. Originally I had the spot for Talos Principle, but after recording this video last year, I actually realised that there was no way I could leave off Mario and Rabbids, and Talos Principle was just, it didn't have the personality that this game had. So that's why easily, you know, up until now, I had to swap them around. There was just no way I could miss this off. So definitely check it out.
Hey?
At number 9, we've got Cuphead. Unfortunately, I have not finished this game yet. One, because holy crap is it difficult. Not like, I mean, I was able to get through the tutorial straight away, so one man upship on that reporter that time. But no, I mean, it's a really fun game. Unfortunately, I only have it on PC at the moment, and just looking at my screen, playing a game with the tightness that you need for controlling and stuff, I struggle to see to control on that. But I have acquired a second-hand Xbox One now, so I'm hoping to pick up the game on Xbox One at some point. But from what I've played on the PC, this is an amazing platformer with, you know, shooting, bullet hell style gameplay. It's got a lot of charm. It is, story-wise, it's quite short and quite shallow. You know, the whole game mainly consists of, you know, bullet hell, oh my god, I just said it, boss battles kind of thing. But I love the charm and the passion that the developers put into this is just mind-blowing. The fact that they had so much faith in it, you know, they remortgaged their houses and they put so much blood, sweat and tears into this before Microsoft finally came along and helped them out, have a publisher. You know, as a fan of animation and stuff, the fact that this is hand-drawn animation, which I miss so badly now. Everything's so digital and clean and you know, overproduced. To see the like I say, I just said it, but again, the blood, sweat and tears into making everything hand-drawn, and to give it that 1930s style is just it's so nostalgic and beautiful. Like I say, controls are tight. Story I would have liked more. But I enjoy the characters, I enjoy the bosses, and everything is really imaginative and original in its own way, while also, like I say, taking a lot from those classic cartoons. So yeah, no, I highly recommend it. If you enjoy platforming games, this is definitely worth, like I say, have not finished it yet. Again, another game that would have been probably higher had I finished it. But yeah, that's Cuphead. I think pretty much this game has had so much praise, and it fully deserves it. And there's just no question it was one of my favourite games of 2017. Number 8, we have another platformer, Sonic Mania. Talk about nostalgia. This is a game that, you know, just goes to show that the fans know more than the actual company that produced this shit. Made by fans and kind of backed by Sonic Team, I think. It recreates a lot of classic zones from the original Sonic the Hedgehog and Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and stuff, but then adds levels, like Studio City and that. I could be wrong on the name of that one. But there's just some imaginative level design in this, and the fact that it controls and is so much more fun than the 3D titles that have plagued the Sonic series for 10-15 years is just amazing. The fact that we're at this point now where we have these like indie titles, etc., that, you know, many have said, oh, it's 8-bit, it's because, you know, the developer's lazy or whatever, and it's actually not that at all. Some are just sometimes the 8-bit aesthetic really works, and I mean, it's 16-bit more for the Sonic game, but it's just really, it just controls really well. It's a lot of fun. Some of the bits are actually quite tough at times, and I think that's just more me than anything else, but I really enjoyed this. It was lovely to go back to those the 3D ball collecting zones and stuff, you know, the levels that, you know, made you really reminiscent of those classic games. The fact that then Sonic Forces came out and it just completely took away, you know, all the goodwill Sonic Team probably had by letting these guys do Sonic Mania, you know, just kind of proved how much people just latch on to that nostalgia. And, you know, sometimes you could say it's lazy, the fact that they've just recreated what has come before. But like I say, the Studio City one and that were so much fun and so imaginative, getting teleported through satellites and stuff like that. It was a lot of fun. That's all I can say. I wasn't really a Sonic fan growing up. My sister was the one with the Sega console for the longest time. So I don't have that same nostalgia connection that some other people do. But no, I love it, and I'm so glad that it got an actual official release instead of being like quashed like some of the other fan games. So kudos to them for that one. At number 7, we have Infamous Second Son, and this one really kind of fits into a lot of the pros of this game. Really fit it in with something, unfortunately, I'm going to be repeating a lot for the rest of the titles on this list, but just story-wise, character-wise, gameplay-wise, it was so much fun and really engaging. I am a fan of the original Infamous games. I had played them again more recently to get the platinums on them, and I was really hesitant. I'd heard Second Son was a really good game. A friend had bought it for me as a Christmas or birthday present, I can't remember. But it was sat on my shelf for the longest time. I had every intention on playing it. I'd seen that it looked really good and that. But I was a little dubious, to be honest, about playing it. I went in with quite low expectations because I loved Cole in the original two games. So the fact that it was somebody completely different, a completely different story and stuff, I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. And yeah, I had a go on Infamous First Light, so I had, you know, a real feel for the kind of world that it was building. So I went in, like I say, with low expectations, but having, like I say, experienced First Light a bit. And no, without fail, Delsin he's a bit cliched at the beginning, but I don't know if it comes down to Troy Baker's amazing voice acting. He has this way of just making some of the most frustrating, tediously characters kind of really endearing and engaging, but Delsin Rowe is easily just so much fun, really cocky, and a lot of but a lot of heart, and the relationship with his brother Reggie at times again makes you just feel like you're hitting your head against the wall, but it all turns out all right, and you're like, oh great, and then, you know, stuff happens and you're like, and you feel yourself really emotionally charged. So I mean, that was when I knew that this game was really getting under my skin, and I just couldn't stop playing it. I just really enjoyed my sessions, you know, for hours on end playing it. The powers are a lot of fun. Again, having played as Cole before, I was like, what is going to be different? But it was the powers were a lot of fun, and I don't know, I felt like I do have mixed feelings about the karma system. The karma system, unfortunately, has always been a bit funky in the Infamous games anyway. In this game, I felt impact-wise that it was a lot better handled, whether you were being a dick or being a saint. But at the same time, there were some interactions where Delsin was just being his usual cocky self, and you're like, are you doing that because you're you, or are you doing that because you're being an arsehole? And some of the other characters' reactions to him did not always really make you feel like you were being one way or the other. So yeah, it does struggle with the same problem that previous Infamous games have done. But I did feel that, you know, whereas say the ones with Cole were just like a colour difference, some of the like violence and stuff that resulted as you playing with bad karma felt a lot more just really kind of twisted and impactful, like I say, than they did before. So I do commend them on that. It's beautiful as one of the first PS4 games that came out. It's really pretty graphically, and like I say, just control, I just really enjoyed it, and like I say, of course, you know, like I say, the voice acting is amazing. You can't argue with Troy Baker or Laura Bailey and stuff like that. You got that high caliber there, you know you're going to get a good vocal kind of acting in it. And it just, I don't know how much of this was motion captured, but face-wise there is a lot of emotion going on, expression-wise and stuff like that. So no, kudos to them. I definitely, I really hope they go forward at some point with more Infamous games, because this title really got me fully into the kind of the IP and the story and world stuff. So sad to see previous characters go, but totally up for these new ones. Okay, so admittedly number 6 and number 5 on this list have bounced between like which one would be on a higher rank than the other one, but I had to put at number 6 Titanfall 2. This game, it's just amazing. I'm not the biggest first-person shooter game fanatic, which is hilarious. Like I say, 5 and 6 are kind of very similar, and I think really should be judged on the same level. But Titanfall 2. Okay, so Titanfall came out whenever it was. Respawn putting it out, and it only had a multiplayer. So I never played it. I just never really had the desire to or need to. So when I found out Titanfall 2 had a single player mode, I was like, gotta check this out. And I'm so glad I did, because it is an amazing, and I'm so sad that it was so underrated and got so little attention. And I don't know if that's because of the bad kind of you know, bad taste in people's mouths from bad experience of the first one only having the multiplayer. I don't know if that's the reputation that has followed it as a result. But Titanfall 2 is an amazing game that should have gotten way more attention. Again, character driven story plot that is so much fun for a military shooter. The story is really engaging, a lot of fun. End was a little cliched, but to be honest, I was bawling my eyes out way too much to really care about that. I was so connected to these characters. BT as the Titan is so much fun as a character, and your pilot is, you know, quite bland, I think, just to give you that feel of you being that character in that Titan. But just that relationship between pilot and BT the Titan is just one of the best in all gaming. It was so much fun, and just really, like I say, I bawled my eyes out on several occasions. I can't, if you want an emotional ride in a first-person shooter, then definitely check this one out. Control wise, the wall running was way more fun than in say stuff like Call of Duty Black Ops. It felt a lot more responsive, just a lot more fun. I will say though, on that note, fuck the trophy for doing the gauntlet run thing, not gauntlet run, but the training run thing, because unfortunately I'm sure it works perfect on PC, but with the PlayStation 4 controller, I try and run and I try and slide and it's not doing it. It's like stopping and then starting and stopping. I know that's just me. I just need to practice a bit more. But yeah, screw that trophy. That is the one trophy that's stopping me from getting to platinum on that game, so I'm genuinely upset about that, because, you know, I got all the other trophies and I was so proud of that. But anyway, that was my one gripe. But the multiplayer on this game, the thing that made me avoid the first game, was so much fun. Unfortunately, I actually suck at being in the Titan in the multiplayer, but as somebody running around, I found it a lot of fun. Just a lot of it was just a lot of fun. I didn't like that you have, so you can either kill like other players, but then they have these like AI things you have to kill as well, and of course you don't get as many like points or the recognition essentially of having people kills. And I'm sorry, when I'm running around being shot at and stuff, I'm not looking at the tinily written name above the thing's head to see if it's a real person or not. I just see that it's the other colour, red I think, and I shoot at it. So yeah, I will say the maps are quite flooded with AI bots, and I found that it would have been just nice to be 5v5 or something like that. But I did really enjoy the multiplayer. You know, it does what it's a lot of fun, and you know, for something that's not what makes me buy games, I enjoyed it as a side thing. But the story is definitely where it's at, and just the relationship and the gameplay, could not recommend it more. Really wish it had done better reviews and attention wise, just from sales, because we would have a Titanfall 3 on the way, but I guess Respawn are doing stuff with EA now, so I don't know. I mean, I know there's Apex Legends, but, you know, just to have another outing with BT and stuff would be amazing. But no, so much fun. At number 5, we have Wolfenstein: The New Order, and in conjunction, the DLC Wolfenstein: The Old Blood. This one I went into with, I don't know, not low expectations, but again, as I said about Titanfall 2, as not like a massive first-person shooter fan, I wasn't sure, because I was so blown away by Doom 2016 that I kind of went in with hopes and dreams that it would be like that, but more story-driven. And without fail it is. It's... Story-wise, it's just... I mean, when you think of Wolfenstein, you know, the classic games, there's no story there at all. It's just like, BJ is just there, you know, shooting Nazis and that, and that's great. But, you know, story-wise, it's a little thin. So, you know, you go into this and you're like, what are they gonna ruin the franchise? Are they gonna... no, without fail, this is story-wise an amazing, engaging game, and as I said before, I know like a lot of the titles on this list, I've said exactly the same thing, and unfortunately this is something I discovered while recording back in December for this list. I was like, pretty much all of these games, anybody that knows me knows I love my story-driven games, and as a result, a lot of these games on this list are that. It's something that is story, and especially because now we're in we have so many of these open world titles that are really thin on the story, and are just like, oh, just go out and do this side mission, just go do this, just, oh yeah, whatever, and you get something like Fallout 76, it's like, wait, you want a story? So we've got so few games now that are story driven in a really deep and engaging way, again, unless you're looking towards your indie titles for that. But Wolfenstein, the reboot made by Machine Games, and I think this was like their first game or something, like their first big title. It's just mind-blowing. Visually it's beautiful. Gameplay wise it's a lot of fun. It's not as frenetic as say Doom 2016. A lot more tactics, a lot more stealth, which again I'm a massive fan of. The stealth mechanics in this work really well. Cover mechanics are where things fail for me. But there's nothing worse than trying to hide, and you know, there's no real taking cover behind stuff. You just got to try and position yourself behind a box, and it's not like you... I mean, I can't remember off the top of my head. I don't remember if there is a peek button, you know, but it's a bit difficult to like kind of step out and go hello, and you get spotted so easily by that. But you know, stealth wise and that, it's very satisfying. Just, you know, you creep up behind them and stab them in the neck, or it's really visceral and gory, but not in a off-putting way. You know, it's not excessive for the sake of being excessive. It's a lot of fun, like I say, very satisfying. There's a real punch to it. But then, you know, if you are alerted, you know, if you have alerted, if you're in full gunplay mode, again, that's very impactful. It's a lot of fun. Just a lot of the scenarios. I mean, the fact that you go to... This is where I get it wrong. It's either the moon or Venus or something. Because I've played since making this list and that, I've played Wolfenstein 2, so I'm feeling a bit like mixed up on what's what. I think Venus is number 2, I think Moon is the first one. Again, I apologise if I'm wrong. But you know, you have this low gravity thing, and you know, you're bouncing around and stuff, and that's a lot of fun, just going out on the planet in your spacesuit. So much of it just works, and you know, like I say, Wolfenstein 2 is, you know, for another list, but the fact that knowing that this was such a big hit and well done, and followed up by a game just as good, just as story interesting, narratively. It's really satisfying to know. Like I say, BJ, who was just this brute before, you know, this bulky guy, nothing more than a face pulling funny faces and stuff, expressions in old games. The fact that he has such an emotional story, it's just really heartbreaking at times, and you know, again, as I've said with the previous titles, you really feel yourself sucked in and just sat there like really nail-biting, thrilled but terrified of what's going to happen next to these characters. Every one of the bit parts, the Max Haas is like just amazing in that kind of you know, like Hodor way. I love Max, and his relationship with his friend that cares for him, kind of thing, that I can't remember the name of. That whole band, kind of band of brothers and sisters, is really a lot of fun. You know, you're spending time with these guys, and sometimes with games, you know, the protagonist can be fun, but the rest of the crew can be just their background noise, whereas here you really have this unit, and you know, of course I went for oh my god, I can't think of his name. I was gonna say Fraser, but I don't think it is. The Scottish guy, of course I went for him, because bloody my mind has just gone blank for names, but of course I went for him. He was the best option, and the dialogue wise, it's hilarious. Yeah, just everything about this game is so much fun, and to be honest, that's why I had to put it above Titanfall 2, because I just found it way more engaging, way more fun on all levels, you know, voice and story, character, gameplay, etc. And the DLC, the expansion, if you will, the Old Blood, it's kind of a midi-res kind of, it's you know, it helps to play the main game to get where you are in the DLC, but you can play it on its own. But I love the added mechanic of the broken pipe, like using it like a piton, kind of climbing walls and stuff. That was a lot of fun. There were just mechanics that were added that wouldn't necessarily have worked in the main game, but for, you know, making the DLC feel separate, were really worthwhile. My only downside actually to Wolfenstein The New Order is it goes on a little long. I think it's like 16 chapters or something, and you're kind of ready for it to wind down around chapter 11, chapter 12. That would be my only issue. The Old Blood fixes that, is a lot shorter, but I mean, it's not supposed to be, you know, its own game. You know, it's not supposed to be a full-length game anyway. So, but yeah, that would be my only gripe, is that the New Order even is just a little too long. But again, still a lot of fun, still engaging, and definitely worth your time. And number 4, we have Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. And, you know, when I was debating where to put stuff in this list, because 2016 had Uncharted 4 at the number 1 slot, I didn't want to feel biased towards it, and really didn't want to put it too high. Now, thankfully, the next 3 slots go to much more deserving games, but this one should not be underrated at all. A lot of people went into this thinking, yeah, well, you know, Nathan Drake's done, you know, what more does the franchise have to offer? And I think in the hands of Chloe and Nadine, this series could go on for, you know, a good few more games, and then even maybe passing on the torch to, you know, Nathan's daughter. It's just really this game is, I mean, considering it started out, the premise of it originally started out, it was just going to be a DLC. They had like this season pass, and, you know, I thought, you know, we were waiting and waiting, and then I think it just spiraled into its own epic adventure, and then had to be bought separately, and they gave us extra credits for the multiplayer on Uncharted 4, which totally weren't worth it, but, you know, whatever. Would have liked a choice in that Naughty Dog, but no. You know, as a discounted game, this is easily a full-on games experience. I would have happily paid full price for this game, because it is just a full, all-encompassing, satisfying adventure. Now, Nadine, you know, wasn't very interested. I didn't feel like she got much to do. It was a bit one note in Uncharted 4, so to see her adventures with Chloe and their relationship and bond, you know, the banter they have, the back and forth. I mean, we're talking about very anti-hero-ish characters. You know, these are not your cut and dry, you know, good guys kind of thing, but they still bounce off each other so well, and the sarcasm. I mean, Claudia Black is always amazing anyway, but her and Laura Bailey, what they do in this is banter is just excessively entertaining, no end. So you're sucked in with that. You know, a lot of mechanics, yeah, fine, are obviously copied over from Uncharted 4. I mean, again, bear in mind, this was just going to be an expansion to that game. So, of course, there are going to be a lot of things repeated mechanically, but story-wise, locations-wise, some of the beautiful sites that you get the chance to take pictures of as a collectible in the game are just breathtaking, and it's just as for what it is easily a 10 out of 10. I could have had this list, not had games that were just, you know, were full-on games that were much better. This could have easily been my number one had it been on any other list, but no, easily. I'm so glad. I was a bit dubious after Uncharted 4 and knowing that those guys, I didn't want those guys back because I felt like their story was done. But I was still a bit dubious about, I felt I didn't want them running the series into the ground just for the sake of it. But with Chloe and Nadine at the helm, I think this franchise has a lot of steam still in it, and I really look forward to seeing where they go from here. And number 3, we have a really surprising one for me, is Nier Automata from Platinum Games. I'm not a big, anybody that knows me, I'm not a big fan of like JRPGs. You know, I'm not a big anime fan at all. And I went into this with curiosity. I had it pre-ordered, just the trailers and that made me fascinated, but I went in with I did play the American demo, which was like a good chunk, like pretty much the beginning, good chunk of the beginning part of the game, you know, a good hour or so I found. And I played that and I was really sold on the game, and that's why I pre-ordered it. But this game is just everything. You've got puzzles, you've got platforming, you've got bullet hell, you've got action adventure, you've got just so many different elements. And you cannot just play this game once through. No. This is a game that you have to play through multiple times, but it's, while elements are from the same parts of the story, say, you're playing very different characters. When you play through as 2B on the second playthrough, you're doing these hacking sections and you know, just very different gameplay. So you're not not just getting, you know, something that's under one genre of game. You're getting just everything. And like I say, I am not a JRPG fan by any means, but this game just implements all those RPG elements. Everything, like, you know, like, I mean, even something like the operating system as you're, you know, kind of leveling up mode, because you're dealing with androids, robots and stuff. The fact that you have like your it's like looking at your you know, your defrag program when you're on your computer, because you're playing around with the operating system, and you can add chips in for upgrading health or combat and stuff like that. You're managing that, and kind of, it's funny to see it in this very nostalgic layout, but at the same time it's really cleverly done. It's not like a skill tree, it's not like some other kind of menu. It's just this very simple block where you see how much space you have to put certain chips in for your upgrades. I just thought that was geniusly done. The story again deals with this very deep kind of balance between what makes us human. Does that mean that androids and robots cannot have feelings? Some of the robots in this game are just emotionally the most deep characters. It's really heart-wrenching and really poignant at times. This game just, I mean, visually it's beautiful. Unfortunately though, it did not get the attention it deserved by any means. Seriously people, if this game, if what you're seeing on the, I mean, even just showing you clips cannot begin to just show the sheer insanity, how engrossing the story and gameplay is, the different genres, like I say, that are incorporated. The boss battles are fun, the controls are good. Fuck a meal. I'm sorry, that fucking song gets stuck in your head. I mean, there are other reasons. I don't care how sweetie and cute he is. No, he hums that song as he's going round, and it gets stuck in your head, and yeah, just no. But otherwise, it's just, no. Seriously, the characters, everything about this game, I cannot praise enough. And it's so Platinum Games, but at the same time feels very different. It's just very organic in the way it flows and ebbs and just everything. I was annoyed after working on the game for a good 60, 70 hours or so, maybe more. Again, that number is a guesstimate. It's been ages since I played it, and I don't know off the top of my head how long I played. But after doing all that, after going through all endings of the game, after fishing. Yeah, what is it with games and fishing lately? Seriously, especially fishing trophies in games. Yeah, the fishing in that I did not like, but that was a trophy. That was an optional trophy thing. And it wasn't hard, it was just you go to different areas and you're sat there for ages and you just pull out like tires and other garbage, and you're just like, I just want this one fish that I know is in this pond. No, I found out after all that time that you can buy in one of the stores the trophies to unlock them. No wonder it's deemed an easy platinum. I put all the work in and I found out people buying the trophies. That was my biggest pet peeve. I know you have to have earned a certain amount of XP and all that stuff to buy the trophies. But I was really frustrated that I'd put all this time. Of course I wouldn't have done it anyway had I known, but after putting all that hard work in, I was gutted to then see that people could just easily purchase the trophies. I was just like, ah, I'm so glad I went looking for all those files and doing all that fishing and stuff like that. But that's an optional thing, you know. I mean, that was a pet peeve for that. I got the platinum, you know, on a and I'm proud of that, you know, kind of thing after that work. And to be honest, at no point did I feel like it was a chore. I say about the fishing, but game-wise, there's nothing chore. Some of the endings, there are 26 endings. They're alphabetically lettered. They're just, some of the endings are hilarious. Like, you'll just be like, oh, okay. You know, and then there's other ones that are really deep, really meaningful, and just have you sat there going, oh, okay, I'm going to go cry now. No, they're just amazing, and they are worth working through. Everything in this game is worth working through. Relationships with characters, just everything about this game is worth praising. Like I say, on all levels. I don't think much about the voice acting, but I think this is just one of those games that suffers with that pacing, because you get those awkward, and I guess it's a translation thing, but you get those awkward pauses sometimes, and you're like, okay. But that's where it fails sometimes. But otherwise, just visually, gameplay, just the varied gameplay alone makes this worthwhile. But I do wish it had gotten much more attention. I highly recommend it, especially if you're an RPG fan. But even if you're not an RPG fan, I highly recommend it, just for the complete batshit crazy variation of things you will get to do in this game. At number 2, we have Super Mario Odyssey. If ever there was a game that I could not have underestimated, it was this one. I just thought, oh, it's going to be another 3D Mario game. I was a bit weary about Cappy, but you know what? If you ever wanted a mix between Mario 64 and Sunshine, this is it. All the worlds are really well done. The Cappy mechanic is just genius, taking over these different enemies. I mean, I say enemies, but taking over these different characters. You could take over Goombas, you could take over Bullet Bills, you could take over just, it's insane. There's these enemies that you have to take over. It's the only way of getting through certain levels is to possess these different characters, you know, these the Wrigglies and stuff like that. It's just, the whole time I played this game, I was smiling. There was just so much about this game. Like I say, it is classic Mario. You know, I mean, Cappy's girlfriend gets kidnapped, and Peach, of course, gets kidnapped, but Bowser is trying to marry her, so that's why he's kidnapped Cappy's girlfriend. And can I just say how boss Bowser looks like in a tuxedo? That design choice is just amazing. I don't know what's going on with the Markiplier style hair, but it's just genius, seriously. And the fact that at the very end, I'm sorry, spoilers, but at the very end, you get to take over Bowser, and you have this whole level where you're charging through these walls with your claws and stuff like that. That was, it made me smile so much. I genuinely, just everything about this game, I think it's easy with the Mario series to feel fatigue, where you get, especially games like the new Super Mario Bros. Series of platformers, you know, it can feel like they're not adding anything new and stuff. It's just the same thing churned out over and over again. And this, you know, I don't feel like 3D wise much has been done for the franchise, you know, since Super Mario Galaxy. But this is just, like I say, even just thinking about playing just makes me smile. The only con about the game is that Luigi's not in it. That is genuinely upsetting. But, I mean, the fact that you can go to the Mushroom Kingdom and you can take over Yoshi. Yoshi is like on Mario 64. His egg is up on top of the castle, on top of Peach's castle, and you can take it and use him to go around. It's just amazing. I'm sorry, I'm so happy. It makes me so happy, this game. Now, yeah, Luigi's not in the game, and he is. They even have the N64 where you go in that garden and you see the Luigi statue that I think people were saying said if you collected all the stars would unlock Luigi. But they've now added Luigi since in this balloon chase kind of mini game that you can do in each land. I feel bad that Luigi gets shafted in that way, that he's really relegated down into that position. But it's nice to see him finally added in some capacity. But that is one element that was really missing, and I think really could have benefited the game more. I guess I'm just saying that I was a Luigi fan more than necessarily a Mario. We need a like Year of Luigi where we have a Luigi's Odyssey version of the game, I guess. I mean, most of the game, once I unlocked Luigi's costume, I ended up just changing over, as stupid as that sounds. No, this game is just excellent. It's original. It's really well, all the different, I mean, even going to New Donk City is, you know, seeing these actual humans in comparison to Mario is really disorientating, but it's still a lot of fun. And let's be honest, the bloody one-up girl Jump Up Superstar theme song is just awesome. It makes me smile just to listen to it. It's a really fun song, and for a game that finally has its own like fully voiced vocal song, it's a lot of, again, that's something they could have gone wrong with, but it's so good. And you know, the big band sound and that is and let's talk about the 2D sections. The fact that you have these sections where you go into this 2D, like, classic 8-bit Super Mario sections is so nostalgic, because somebody who played the original Mario on the Nintendo Entertainment System, you know, grew up with that. That just makes my nostalgic heart just grow about 50 times. And it's not awful, it's not badly done, and especially in this winding section in New Donk City near the end, like near the finale of that section, where you oh my god, pipe, you know, drop from each section to the next. It is so smooth. It's still well done. It's so well done. It does not feel tacked on. It's just really well implemented to go between the 3D and the 2D realm. I just know everything about this game. I can't wait to see where they go from here. I mean, the different things that they're trying with the Mario, you know, 3D games. Like I say, Galaxy was the last one that really stood out to me. I don't have a 3DS or that, so I can't talk much about like 3D World and stuff. No, I really like this one. I wouldn't want to see too much of Cappy in follow-ups, because I think it needs to stay unique for this particular game, but I certainly would love to see where they go from here. This just controls well, just everything about it just makes me smile. Definitely, if you like any of the Mario games, this was one of the first games I had when I bought my Switch, and yeah, no, it's just worth it, seriously. And at number 1, we finally made it. We have Horizon Zero Dawn from Guerrilla Games. You know, a company primarily known for Killzone, a first-person shooter. Bring us this excellent action-adventure RPG-style game where you go up against robot dinosaurs. What more do you want in life? Seriously, there are no limits to how much I love this game. Characters, the relationship, the strong character of Aloy, this female lead character who is not over-sexualized in her outfit, is not like tied down to relationships. She meets up with a character, Erend, and I was a bit worried that they were gonna try too much. They did have this passing thing where he's like drunk and hitting on her, but I was like, no, don't force this kind of relationship on her. And they don't. And they have a really good male-female relationship. And he says one of the sweetest lines at the end when he's just like, I'm so lucky I got the chance just to pass you by, kind of thing. Their relationship is just, their friendship is just beautiful. And I really enjoy Erend. Erend is an amazing, hilarious character. But Aloy, as far as lead characters go, is easily like number 1. There is a good reason why last year, for 4.5 months, I hand-stitched my costume for London Film and Comic Con. I worked my heart because I believe that she is like the poster, you know, everybody's like, no, it's Lara Croft, it's this, that and the other. No, Aloy is just amazing. And we saw strong women in Uncharted Lost Legacy, but for me, just that character is just excellent in Horizon Zero Dawn. But not just Aloy. And like I say, you've got other characters like Erend and Rost and etc, etc. The civilizations you go, the different towns you go to. They all have these leaders that are really interesting to interact with. The dialogue is so well written that even when you have these characters that go on and on with exposition, you are genuinely hooked. There is a lot of exposition when you go down into these caves and see these like memories of stuff that happened that give you backstory to what caused the world. This is a post-apocalyptic world, so it's interesting to see how Earth got itself to this point of having, you know, this new way of life overrun with robotic dinosaurs. But you're sat there through these scenes where you're getting all this exposition dumps and you're not bored. You're genuinely interested, and I was sat there just fascinated by this world and lore that they were building up. And like I say, you go to some of the other towns and that, and the leaders will talk to you and they'll go on and on about their troubles. And whereas, say, something like Assassin's Creed series, this game takes a lot from, say, Assassin's Creed and other action adventures with its open world kind of tropes. But while, say, something like Assassin's Creed, you can easily just go, okay, next mission, just skip the dialogue, you know, kind of thing. You are definitely, like I say, I keep saying genuinely engaged, but it's true. You are interested to hear what they're saying. They're well voice acted, and just from the bottom of my heart, I cannot explain how gripped I was, and in no desire to skip scenes. And on that same point, the same for fast travel. This is a big ass world to go through, but whereas, say, in a Ubisoft open world game, it's you know, every 30 square feet is copy pasted. Everywhere feels very different, very unique, to the point that at no point did I, even when I had to go from one end of the map round to the other side, I didn't really have any desire to fast travel. I ran so much of it back and forth, because just the scenery is just mind-blowing. It's just eye-gasming. It's beautiful to look at. Seriously, I spent way too much time in photo mode. That's way too much fun to do on this game. Stood up on top of a... and again, so it takes the tower climbing trope of, you know, Ubisoft games, but makes you climb these massive giraffe, kind of brachiosaur style robots that have this like Starship Enterprise head to overtake them and unlock the area, you know, map wise. And it's so because this thing moves, it walks around in this path that you have to detect. Because it's moving, much like, say, Shadow of the Colossus or something, you know, that kind of climbing mechanic. Because it's doing that, and again, Uncharted is actually another game that it borrows quite heavily from in its just level design climbing wise. Because it's moving and you're seeing all the scenery as you're going around and you're trying to swing to bars and climb up onto this thing. It is just mesmerising to watch and fully just excessively fun to do. And you never thought a tower climbing bloody thing would be fun, but it is in that case. But no, I never really felt the need to fast travel because just visually the game is fun, is beautiful, but also the different creatures you encounter, you know, the robots and stuff, the battles with them is so much fun, just tactically, control wise and that, the different things you have to do for the different robots, and when you unlock the skill to overthrow them and control them on your side, it's just, there are no words to express how much fun that mechanic is. Now, unfortunately, this game came out literally, I think, within a week of, I could be wrong, but it was pretty much the same time as Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. You know, the Nintendo Switch had just come out. Breath of the Wild was like its launch title, and everybody had been waiting on that game, and unfortunately Horizon Zero Dawn was a PlayStation 4 exclusive, so a lot of people didn't play it as much as I think should have played it, and that's really unfortunate. But like I say, I think it just fell under the radar a bit because of Breath of the Wild. Not that I'm saying Breath of the Wild is not worth it, because it is, and that will have to wait for another list. But Horizon Zero Dawn deserves so much more praise. I have not finished the DLC Frozen Wild yet, but I'm fully enjoying that. It's just more Horizon Zero Dawn, but with more snow. And what more, you know, what can you say about that? But just mechanically, gameplay-wise, character and story driven, again, I was gripped emotionally so much at a time, fully engaged with the characters, and yay for Aloy, like I say, the best female protagonist I think we've ever had. I highly recommend this game. Please give it a chance. It's, like I say, it is so worth it on all levels, and is easily, by far, you know what, no matter how much I debated the places for the rest of the games on this list, there is no question that Horizon Zero Dawn would have been my #1 game of 2017 ever. It never would have been any lower on this list. It was just amazing and mind-blowing. And definitely, and the fact that Guerrilla Games did something so different from their comfort zone, you know, while taking tropes from games of the genre it was inspired by, but making them feel fresh, I think kudos to them, fully. But yeah, that's my list. That's my top 10 games of 27 that I played in 2017. Please share your thoughts if you've played any of these games. If there's games that you played in 2017 that I didn't mention, please share your favourites. Like I say, there are some games that I either didn't get a chance to play, or you know, didn't get a chance to play far enough into to warrant listing here. Breath of the Wild is one of those games. But please share your thoughts on your favourite games. I really look forward to seeing them in the comments down below. Please like, subscribe, and I promise my worst and best games that I played in 2018 lists are coming shortly. It's probably going to be a month or so, but I really feel driven to get that list, those lists done ASAP, so that I can get back on track to then have 2019's list, you know, done in time this year, at the end of this year. But thank you so much for watching. So sorry again that these lists are so late, but please take care, and I'll see you somewhere down the line.